Hey y'all, I'm Tyler, and I've decided for my video essay to do my project over Blaze Foley. He's not really as well of a known artist, however he's a very significant artist to me. I found him in a very interesting way. He's not a direct blues artist, but he is associated with the genres of blues. I would say he's more considered an outlaw country artist. But yeah, we're going to break down Blaze Foley, why he's significant to me, some reasons I think you should pay attention to him, some connections to the blues and things in class, and then maybe some other artists and stuff that you should go check out that are kind of like associated to his story. And I also might play a few clips and have some show and tell items that I can show off and kind of tie his story into a few of those things as well. Who was Blaze Foley? Like his entire story, really in general for the most part. So Blaze, his full name is Michael David Fuller. He was born Michael David Fuller. Blaze Foley is just his stage name. He was born in 1949. He's associated very often as an Austin, Texas kind of artist. That is where he ended up passing away. But he was born in Arkansas. He actually grew up singing gospel music with his family. They were called the Singing Fuller Group, Singing Fuller family. They would travel around the South performing, doing all these shows out of a converted school bus, which is already pretty interesting to start out with. As he grew older, he actually began writing songs on his own, so he has that musical foundation that actually started in a gospel scene. You do see that a lot with blues artists as well, kind of like this religious tie-in to their music, and it kind of starts through there. But yeah, he actually took his name in combination from an artist named Blaze Starr and an artist named Red Foley. So Blaze Starr, he took the first name of that artist, and Red Foley, he took the last name of that artist. And here's a cassette tape. I haven't opened it. It's from 1991. I found it at a Half Price Books. It's inverted, but it is Red Foley. I thought it was cool. Thought it was a cool little connector piece. So how I originally found Blaze. I'm a bit of like a history deep diver as well. Like I love history markers, historical markers. And I found a marker on a Google Maps page that actually said Blaze Foley on it. And I was very intrigued. I had no idea what it was. It was at a cemetery. The cemetery is called Live Oak Cemetery. It's in the Manchaca area, kind of like South Austin area, if anybody wants to go check that out. But yeah, it led me to his music, his life, and then I found like the incredible following that's kind of attached to Blaze. He's got a bit of his own kind of cult following and a bunch of people that kind of are attached to his story and kind of still listen to his music. And then I also have a record. I have been showing it off quite a bit, but this is from the Dog Years, and this comes from a time that Blaze actually called himself Deputy Dog. So that was his name before Blaze Foley. I actually kind of like that name a decent amount, but it just didn't stick for him. He wanted a more I guess like a wide kind of grasping name for different audiences, but Deputy Dog was his original name. So you see the Dog Years, and in this album are most of the songs he created in like the 70s, early 80s that ended up becoming like his catalog. Blaze is, like I said before, traditional kind of like outlaw country artist, definitely falls more into the country vein, but he has a lot of blues connections, and like his persona, his style, his lyrics in his songs, I'll also try to throw some of those up, are extremely powerful and resemble tons and tons of things that you would see in class from artists, like Lightning Hopkins and things of that nature. Even some of his song titles, Big Chief Hightower, so that's a big one, and I'll try to throw it up here, but all the references of blues artists calling out police officers in their music, people that they knew from town, and how that can actually be a good historical reference. Blaze did that a lot. He was known to be in jail, get thrown in jail a couple times, exactly the same kind of themes that we've seen a lot of these early blues artists go through. But a lot of his songs, the Election Day, he talks about politics and different presidents. So he's got a very much so a bluesy vibe to him. Blaze actually eventually settled down in Texas. He had a story where he had a lover named Sybil Rosen who he lived in the woods with for quite some time. There's an awesome book that she actually wrote, and then there's a movie that's actually based off Blaze's life called Blaze. It's on Amazon Prime. I think Ethan Hawke directed it. It's pretty cool. shows Blaze definitely in a light that I don't think a lot of people realized how he was, but it shows Blaze in a very real light, very authentic light, I think. Shows his tendency to drink, shows his connection to alcoholism quite vividly, but a really cool story, and gives you kind of like some insight into Blaze if you ever wanted to check that out. It's on Amazon Prime. Eventually moved to Austin to try to, jumpstart his music career. Sybil had actually convinced him to do that. He had been writing some pretty incredible songs actually in that treehouse in the woods. It was time for him to kind of break out of his comfort zone and really kind of hit the ground running. And so he settled down in Austin. They lived in just like this small little apartment complex, and he immediately settled into that outlaw country scene in the city. He lived mostly homeless. He ended up losing Sybil. She left him. He fell into a pretty bad routine, drifting between couches, bars, cheap rooms. He would write songs, very bluesman-esque, I'd have to say. Not everybody was doing this, but still, this is a very raw way to live. And in 1989, after going through the gamut in the 80s, he actually was shot and killed trying to defend one of his older friends, and he died at 39 years old, I believe. And since his death, like I've mentioned it already, he kind of became a bit of a legend, and all of his raw recordings that had been kind of lost to history at that point resurfaced, and it kind of all started from there. I do believe Blaze's kind of legacy and popularity grew immensely, and you can see that in the movie that was made about Blaze. There's an awesome documentary you can check out on YouTube called The Duct Tape Messiah. It's done very, very well. It has like everybody who was close to Blaze. Sybil's in there. He's got some really, really good friends. Cal's Van Zant, I haven't even mentioned him. So we are going to attempt to play something, see what happens.
Skies are full of dirt and gray. City's kids come out to play, running in the broken glass from old deserted windows.
And the cool thing about this tape is you can hear the imperfections in it. There's certain songs that Blaze like specifically would just leave in his albums. There would be like babies crying sometimes. You'd hear like dogs in the background. His music, very interesting because he was super okay with like imperfection in there, and he felt like that actually embodied his music more authentically. Correct, yes.
When I woke up this morning, I was wondering where I'd be when the sun comes up tomorrow, but nobody answered me.